Now move over, Swanson. I'm driving.
Wow!
Hey, Smails! My dinghy's bigger than your whole boat!
Welcome back. I'm sorry. That was
God.
Okay, Pookie.
Okay, Pookie.
Okay, Pookie.
Welcome back to the Caddyshack Minute, the podcast in which we scrutinize and study and so let's dance to the movie Caddyshack, 1 minute at a time. I am Tom Taylor, and with me are my co-hosts Mike DiMaria.
I just want to make love to you. Okay.
Was that how Mr. Foghat would answer the phone?
That'd be playing as he'd be driving up the.
Is that Mr. Foghat on his way up the driveway?
Yeah, it would play inside the men's grill. That's like you would know that Foghat has entered the building through where they bring the beverages.
This is walk-up music.
Yeah, it's his walk-up music.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else though? Dan Lewis is here too.
Yes, he's there.
Should have yelled too.
Next time you yell too.
Yeah.
We're here to discuss minute 23 of Caddyshack, and minute 23 begins with Al Czervik yelling 4, and it ends with Danny telling Judge Smails that he's fascinated with all areas of the law. This is a good minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Primo.
I want to say, I don't know if this will shake anybody to their core, I want to say this is my favorite minute of the movie.
Of the entire movie.
Well, so far, I really enjoyed, I watched this minute dozens and dozens of times for this, taking notes and stuff. And I had a great time each time.
Yeah. Again, with the notes.
I take notes.
All up in my head.
Do you not take, it's all up in your head?
Yeah,
Look at you.
Notes.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, but I do agree. And I think if it's you, as you're sorting through these, if you were sorting mail,
Mm-hmm.
you put the good ones into the left side, and you will see which one of these will be the best minute. Yes, this is one of the that you sort to the good side.
Right. On the
There's
good
goodness
side.
and badness.
Right.
Sides. This is the goodness.
Yeah.
This minute is for goodness. It wants to be good.
Like
I agree.
It of course has a lot of Rodney, but I a lot of the enjoyment I get from this minute, I'm going to say it, this might be controversial too. I love this song so much. Any Way You Want It by Journey. I think it's a fantastic song.
It's a great song.
And
you know who steals this minute?
Who?
The Scots.
The Scots, and what's his buddy's name? Gatsby?
Yeah, well, there's Gatsby Scott. He's the guy that's balding. He's the guy that really steals this minute.
No,
hang on a second.
Wait,
Drew Scott.
No, Drew Scott is the other one.
No.
Well,
Drew Scott was with the yellow shirt and he's balding.
and Gatsby's got the black shirt on.
Yeah,
They're both balding, so you can't describe them as balding.
Are they both bald?
They're both balding.
Gatsby's the one that's tearing it up.
Right, but Drew Scott is balding too. Well, he's mostly bald. He's balded, not balding.
Boy, I didn't
Past
notice
tense.
Gatsby being balding at all.
No.
He's got a mustache and a full head of hair, I thought. And he's got a blue shirt and white pants.
That's true.
Right? In this scene? That's not true. Stop it.
No, we got it switched up
Oh,
there, Mike.
geez.
Okay, I'll step back. I know. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Well, you might not be. Let's sort it out and let's be fair.
Let's slow down the minute then.
Fair.
I get that.
I can hear
need
the
to slow it
fans
down.
screaming at us right now.
Who I am?
No, the listeners are like, "Oh, you dummies! That's Drew and that's Gatsby. Get it straight."
You know what the listeners can all go do.
I do. They can dance.
Right.
Watch it. I have to say, I was just.
You know what we can do, Tom? Before you get off the subject, when this airs, we can wait for the haiku that shows up in the in the Caddyshack Minute listeners' whole Facebook page online, where you can go and comment on any part of your favorite minutes, or if you're angry at us. So I think the haiku that gets written every day will clear that up for us.
So Let's Dance is the first line of a haiku.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Drew Scott.
The great Matt Carson has been writing beautiful haikus every single day for every minute of this show.
Yeah. Thank you for your loyalty to the podcast.
See,
You're away with the pen. Yeah, thank you.
The pen and the keyboard.
Wait, hold on a second now. Here, Drew Scott is the guy with the dark blue shirt. That must be Gatsby.
Yeah.
And then Drew Scott is the bald guy who says that kid'll eat anything later on, and who's always there.
Okay, so
he's got the martini. That's Drew Scott.
Okay.
So that's the guy that I said was Gatsby.
Yeah, you're right. Drew Scott, right.
So 1 point each for Dan and Tom, and 1 minus point for Mike.
No, but then you give me a half point for admitting that I was wrong.
That's
and
true.
Moving on.
No, you're true. Winter rules. You get half
Winter
a point
rules.
for admitting you're wrong.
Exactly.
That's just good. That's just good sportsmanship.
It's good citizenship. It's good sportsmanship.
Yes.
It's
democracy learning.
Yeah.
Right.
You're a well-rounded person.
This is social and emotional learning right here.
It is.
Mhm.
You're dealing with others.
Yes.
You're really in touch. I like it.
Wow.
I'm proud of you, Mike.
Okay. So that Scott, Drew Scott, steals the minute with his dancing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one thing that makes this minute great, and we're skipping the beginning of the minute, by the way. But since we're talking about the dancing, one thing that makes this minute great and rewatchable is I can't decide who wins because all the dancing is so great and just it is a joyous moment of a spontaneous journey.
I agree.
I'm not exactly going out on a limb here, but I love Rodney's dancing.
It's
I love
great.
the way he dances in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And it's
He's
interesting,
dancing
you know.
before he even starts dancing.
Oh yeah. It's great.
Well, we should back up though because this minute starts with one of the worst insert shots in the movie or in any movie. At the end of last minute, Smails had just swung, and Rodney then swings as he yells 4.
Yeah.
See the ball flying in, and it's like this super awkward. It's like Dan when you said you hated the ricochet of the ball with the Haverkamps, going over DiNunzio's head. I think the same guy threw this fake ball shot. It's like the big orange ball hits maybe a mannequin or something. I don't know.
Right,
just
there
like
had to have been a stand, dude. There's no way that they used Ted Knight's crotchal region for that shot.
Right.
That's
right.
a stunt double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very awkward. It's like lightly bounces off his pubis, not even his groin or anything.
And if you notice, there's two.
It lands at the base.
Yeah. It's like the assistant, the guy who throws the ball, is just off camera.
Right.
And he just lightly throws it up in the air and
from an inch away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the close up of the ball is it's thrown at this
it's coming
very,
up
very, very low arc. There's no way that it could possibly be a ball flying through the air a couple hundred yards. Rodney's got a driver.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
As described in the earlier scene, or rather in the earlier minute. So he's got a driver. So the trajectory of the ball is going to be more like the long scale parabola. Yeah. And this ball is just thrown in like you would toss a piece of. I don't know. That's I don't know my ballistics, but it's that the one that's actually thrown at the camera is the way that you would throw a balled up piece of paper into the trash.
Yeah, it had an upward arch to it.
Yeah, right.
It was like it was coming from below.
Yeah, right.
So it came from somebody just tossing it. Okay, I'm just going to brush it. It's going to tap it.
But what's
and
crazy?
when it hits, there's somebody that goes ooh, and then Judge Smails goes oh. So there's two sounds.
Right.
I don't know if that's a spectator, or again, are we talking about there's multiple overdubs that they didn't delete one of them?
Yeah,
could be. Well, what's really weird is if you watch the really horrible trailer that Kevin Marr was talking about last week. It's the trailer's really awkward and goony, but there's they show this scene. They stick with that shot of Smails, kind of waving like, congratulate me, I just did a really good golf swing or something, and the ball comes in during that shot and hits him, and it's really natural and kind of normal. It's like the one thing in the preview that's actually better than in the movie. So I don't know why they decided to go with this weird insert shot, unless they thought you couldn't quite see it from that distance, that the ball's coming in and hitting him in the nuts and stuff.
So it shows it. It shows it while he's waving. It hits him.
Yeah, that shot is uninterrupted.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then he reacts and he's like,
and there's a really bad overdubbing in that. There's more bad overdubbing. Oh.
Yeah. And we give Danny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. They didn't. It's I don't know why. It's they didn't use Ted Knight for the overdub. They used somebody else.
I want to say that is Ted Knight, and he's doing his good, crazy, weird Ted Baxterisms or something.
I guess it could be.
And we give Danny Noonan a hard time, but I really like his absolute non-reaction to this whole thing.
Yeah, walk it off.
Standing there.
You should walk that off, sir. It's a suggestion, a polite suggestion.
Yeah, and it's kind of a dichotomy from him kissing his ass about, he's there to kiss his ass, as we see it, later when he's talking about the law.
Right, right.
That you think that if Judge Smails just got hit in the nuts, he would be trying to help him to get that that scholarship.
Yeah, but throughout the movie, he is kind of he's a brown noser, but he's also roustabout. He's kind of lazy, and he's still a little bit irreverent. I mean, it'll come up later in other scenes, but he never really. It's like he never takes anything seriously.
And also, what would he do to like help Judge Smails with his hurt nut sack? Like, what would he like?
Go or pat him on the back or something and say, "Did you need me to get something? Do you need an ice
pack? An arm to lean on?" Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
get him an ice pack,
Danny.
Well, okay, wait, okay. What movie is this line from? Get the horses, get the men, get me an ice pack.
I don't know what movie is that.
Blazing Saddles.
History of the World.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
That other Mel Brooks movie.
Right.
Do I get half a point for that?
Yeah, you guys close.
I lose a point for guessing wrong, but okay. But yeah, then we get to Rodney and DiNunzio. And DiNunzio's complaining about how heavy that insane bag is.
Yeah.
And
even hear rocks.
But like I said before, Rodney's dancing before he even starts dancing. He says his line about like 55 flights of stairs, and DiNunzio puts the bag down. He's like, "So what?" And while Rodney is watching him and waiting for his line, he's just like wobbling back and forth, like he's doing a Rodney impression or something.
Well, it could be like it could be that he's doing his normal Rodney shifting back and forth fidgety thing, and that it's one of those things where, like you pick it up as dancing because it's like happens to time out just right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
And when he rips the cover off, there's the Velcro sound, but there's no Velcro.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
There's zero Velcro on there. And you would see the one side of the Velcro and there's nothing.
How is that even staying on then?
I don't know.
That's magical.
Maybe they just said, I don't know. Maybe they had some like clear tape.
Wow.
There's no Velcro. That's true. He pulls it off and it just looks crisp and clean. Because if you put Velcro on, it would look real ugly.
Yeah, that's probably the cinematographer says, you know what? I don't work at Velcro. I'm not shooting that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose me if you put Velcro on that. I know it's practical, but I don't shoot practical.
Right.
Velcro was still NASA nerd stuff back then. Yeah. It was not incorporated into polite society yet. It
was like nylon.
I loved everything. The dancing. Everyone's dancing. Wang is dancing. Dr. Dow playing Wang.
Yeah.
Is dancing great. Everybody's got like a very like almost like a Rockette style dance going, like a really showy.
Yeah, the other Scott has a...
Because the first time you watch it, like the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's weird. None of the DiNunzios are dancing. Like, because you couldn't quite see Angie in the background. He's blocked by somebody. And Joey takes they have to cut back to her 3 different times before she actually starts dancing. She's doing something else first, but then later on you see her and Gatsby are doing like a kind of Rockettes thing, like they're doing a leg kick.
Yeah, and Gatsby's holding the golf club like a cane.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh.
I'll liken this scene to like a Charlie Brown Christmas when everybody breaks out in their dances.
I had that note. I wrote down Charlie Brown.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
I really did.
Did you write it down?
Very good.
Did you really do that?
Mike had it in his noodle.
Yeah, I had it in my head.
Noodle
Very
notes.
proud of you that you wrote it down. You're proud of yourself.
I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
Very happy with yourself. You wrote it down.
You got Gatsby, you've got Drew Scott, you've got Rodney, you got DiNunzio, and of course DiNunzio just stands there, right? Like DiNunzio is having none of it. He's too cool to dance.
That's sort of the most fascinating part of the minute. Is he's like he when he turns the music on, the music starts. Everyone's kind of like, huh? But DiNunzio's like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Yeah,
DiNunzio in this movie is he's like the tired, sort of exasperated everyman.
You can't catch a break.
Yeah, you feel like something's going on with him. Like
he's depressed a little.
I think he's depressed or something.
Yeah,
he's dealing with something, and he's like constantly like, I couldn't get a Coke earlier. I almost got in a fight with Danny Noonan. I feel bad about that. Now that
maybe they should have
with the heavy bag.
Maybe they should have given him like a spin-off show, like Chachi.
Oh, that would right.
Joni Loves Chachi.
That would
right. Angie Loves Tony.
Yeah, or like with Breaking Bad, Saul got his own show.
Yeah,
because there's a story with DiNunzio, and maybe he goes home from the Caddyshack, the titular Caddyshack, like you like to say.
I said it once.
Maybe he goes home and as he's walking, the comedy disappears and we go into a drama, a very sad drama. He goes home and the DiNunzios, there's nothing but You know, it's like Charlie Bucket at home.
Yeah, right.
from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like, the 5 grandparents sitting in bed, they won't get out of their bed.
But he supports all of them with his caddy wages.
Yeah. And he comes home and he has to put an apron on and he starts sweeping.
Right, he has to hang his slacks up for the next day because so they don't get all like flour on them because he has to make fresh pasta for the family.
Yeah, but they only have one cup of flour, one egg.
Right, and it's a very Dickensian kind of thing.
Maybe we'll win the flour lottery.
As he's walking from Bushwood, you can hear Journey any way you want it, and it starts to get fading. It gets more in the background. Everything gets more depressing. And the next show starts. The DiNunzios. He walks in. His shoulders hunch over. You know, he hangs. You know, he has to, like you said, he takes his slacks off. Has to hang them up. Mm-hmm. He's got his grandparents sitting in bed, like the Buckets. Just a sad state of affairs. You know, he's just trying to make it connect.
I got your smokes, Grandpa.
Yeah, here's your smokes. I tried to get you that Coke. But you wouldn't give me no Coke.
But I only had 45 cents in the budget for Coke.
Yeah. Old man Loomis raised it.
Yeah.
He's been losing at the track.
It's just a sad kind of...
Times is tough for everybody.
It's like Oliver Twist or something.
How many cups of flour do we have, Mom?
Not enough.
I got 1 egg.
Oh.
1 cup of flour.
They're all sharing a bed, like you said in Willy Wonka, when the grandpa sleeps all day, so he doesn't have to eat or anything.
Yeah.
Danny Noonan's trying for that Caddyshack scholarship now, Grandpa.
They find the golden ticket inside the calzone.
Yeah.
Do I get to go too, Tony? Easy, Grandpa.
Oh, let's not get into Grandpa Joe.
Mike DiMaria hates Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe's a bastard.
You know, I gotta say, wait a minute. I gotta say, before you get into this, I gotta say, you've been saying that for years. That Grandpa Joe is an asshole and a deadbeat and a maniac.
Pile of shit I've ever.
And it just I'm seeing it all over the internet now. It's like a thing. Like, hey, let's gang up on Grandpa. No,
I've been saying it since I met you. I think it was the first thing I said to you. Hey, you know what? I fucking hate Grandpa Joe.
I was like, why? What's wrong with Grandpa Joe?
Grandpa Joe is worse than
Wait, Mike, let me get this straight. Mike, you had Grandpa Joe pegged as an asshole before it was cool.
Years ago.
Exactly right.
Tell me tell me the background on this. Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka is an asshole. Go.
Go?
Yeah, tell me what the story is with Grandpa Joe. I think of Grandpa Joe as a kindly old man. What's the problem?
Are you serious?
No, I am. I just wanted to be convinced. Maybe I don't remember it well enough. I want to know the argument.
Now, granted, I don't have any notes in front of me.
No, but he's painted as a sympathetic character, and he's one of the best friends of Charlie. Tell me what's wrong with Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe is the most self-centered son of a bitch in I think a character in any movie. He's the one. It's just like a reversal. Like Charlie is the one that's working, that's going out and trying to get chocolates for these bastards.
Oh, yeah.
And Grandpa Joe is like the 3-year-old, 5-year-old kid. Can I go too? Just like
true.
He and he's the one that gets him in trouble. He's the one that steals the fizzy lifting drinks.
And even before that, like Charlie gets the ticket, and all of a sudden, this guy's been an invalid. He can't lift a finger.
He gets out of bed. He starts doing yippee. We won. No, you didn't win shit. The kid won. Just let the kid. Yeah. What about let him ask his dad? Maybe he wants to take his dad.
When a kid says he's tired or something, but then you go let's go to the. Oh, I got so Then something exciting happens, and the kid suddenly's got all kinds of energy. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I can go to the candy.
Oh, I can't go to school.
Shop.
And you get there's just a minute in that movie. He's a bastard throughout that entire movie, and at the end, Wonka gives it to him, and there's like a minute of just it's validation.
There's justice in the world.
When he says, you stole fizzy lifting drinks, you get nothing. And he calls him a swindler. He's not a swindler. And then Wonka turns and says, oh, you passed the test. No, it should have ended right there. It should have booted him out of there. You bastard.
You ruined it for Charlie.
I caught you on the security cam taking the fizzy lifting drinks.
Right. You got a shitty grandpa.
Yeah.
I have an awesome
Charlie,
question.
you're okay, but your grandpa's a shitstorm.
Does Charlie have a dad?
Well, in the second movie, he does. In the
remake?
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, that's terrible. That one's terrible.
Do you like that Grandpa Joe better?
Well, they made him he's not really an asshole in that one.
Yeah.
You're a swindler.
We're talking about Gene Wilder again. That's sad.
I guess I was fooled by the way that he was depicted in the kind of the kindly old man actor. I wasn't really looking at it through a clear lens.
You and me both, Dan. But Mike showed me the way.
Yeah. Boy, I'm gonna watch that movie real differently now. But it's just like what's happening with DiNunzio.
You know what Grandpa Joe's like? He's like a libertarian.
Right.
Don't get in my way of my chocolates. Let me do what I want to do. Don't put rules in front of me. I don't see any rules that say don't touch don't steal fizzy lifting drinks.
Right.
I want to take fizzy lifting drinks.
And we all have an equal shot at the golden ticket. So don't complain just because I won the golden ticket.
Yeah.
We all have an equal shot.
And when Wonka gets mad at Grandpa, he says to Charlie, "Hey, let's go find Slugworth and sell the thing to him. We'll show this Willy Wonka." He's like totally going to go with the bad guys. He's going to totally screw over Willy Wonka.
He's a libertarian.
Yelled at. Because he broke the rules and got yelled at for it.
Don't tell me what I can do.
No.
I'm a free thinker.
Right.
I'm a freeloader.
Yeah. I want to go get what's mine.
Huh.
But
all right, back to the minute.
Sure, there's a scene you can see a copy of Atlas Shrugged in Grandpa's back pocket.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Rolled up.
Yeah, rolled up.
He's an
ready to hit someone with it.
It's ready to go Sandy McFiddish on somebody.
Just prime it.
Damn your eyes.
Damn your eyes.
But I feel horrible for DiNunzio because everyone's having a ball. Everyone's having like the most actual visceral fun in the movie, and he's just like, God, I just want to go home.
This might be fun for you, but I've got to get in another 36 holes today if I want to be able to buy dinner.
Yeah, I need to get my card signed. If you guys just start dancing, we're not going to finish this hole, and I'm not going to get paid.
Exactly.
And Danny's going to get the scholarship, and good for the Douglases.
Yeah. Hooray for the Douglases.
Hooray for the Douglases.
Hooray for the Douglases.
Yeah, I think there's a spinoff somewhere. DiNunzio, he's got a backstory, and it's not happy.
Yeah, I think you're right. But then Joey and Angie seem to be living large. They're having a nice time. They're dancing.
Because he's the oldest son, and he's the breadwinner of the family, and the other ones are just tagging along.
Yeah, they're insulated from the struggle.
That's part of his burden.
Yeah, it's part of his job.
He's the adult to them.
And every day they get it. Every year they get a gift from Santa, and they still don't know that there's no Santa. But it's because DiNunzio saved up because he's uncompromising as to paying more than 40 or 45 cents for Cokes. He saved up all year, got him a little something.
God. I'm actually gonna cry. I was afraid you were gonna say that.
Yeah,
this is terrible.
Yeah, I like Tony DiNunzio, man. It's really a different kind of. Yeah. I'm gonna do with DiNunzio what Mike did for us for Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe?
Yeah.
That was my grandpa.
Hello, Joe.
That was my grandpa. My grandpa's name was Joe too, and he was a bit of a roustabout. But he drank. Believe me, he drank plenty of fizzy drinks. But
floated around the house.
Yeah, right. Anyway. I'm going to do this for Caddyshack. I'm going to tell people, you know who the real hero of that movie Caddyshack is? It's Tony DiNunzio, and they're not going to believe me.
Yeah.
First of all, they're going to go, I don't know who that is. I've only saw the movie once. And then once I explain it to them, they're going to go, I'm not interested anyway.
I know you guys don't like it when I do this, but I'm going to reference that other show I do, the Indiana Jones Minute, because we had a revelation. We had a revelation that lasted the whole movie where we realized that Belloc, the bad guy of the movie, is actually, while he is a dick and a creep and a cad, he is in many ways a superior person to Indiana Jones, possibly a superior archaeologist, and he's got a lot more going for him. Just a nudge to make him a good guy. Anyway.
Jesus.
Somebody make him.
Jesus.
Grab the feather. I have to say this,
Mike. Sorry, I was busy. You guys blowing up a feather over and over again.
Your feathers were in perfect unison. That was awesome. I'm really impressed.
All right, I don't know what you just said, Tom, but Mike?
Yeah. I'm right here.
Wake up.
Sorry.
Go to Grandma's house.
You almost swallowed your feather.
I was busy putting oil in my sleeping lamp.
Any way you want it. I wanted to check that out because, it's kind of like, I think of it as an older song. But of course, it was a new song. It had come out in 1980, right? I mean, right then. So that was just basically a brand new song.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta we all already said that we love the song. I actually love Journey.
Yeah.
Am I wrong for loving Journey?
Oh, yeah. No, they're great.
Okay.
I really don't like Don't Stop Believing because, and I know that that's a good song. Objectively, I can see that.
That is a really good song.
But every time I move to a city, that team immediately wins the World Series. And it's the most annoying thing. And they all use that song and they all think it's their song. Like, I was in Chicago and the White Sox won the World Series in 2005. And they thought that they're Don't Stop Believing. Meanwhile, the band's from San Francisco. But Chicago's like, Don't Stop Believing. Like, it's a very clever choice for your rally song. And they love it. And it's like their big song and everybody's playing it constantly. And suddenly everyone's a huge Journey fan. Right. I moved to San Francisco the next year. They win the goddamn World Series. Of course, they have a little more license to use that song since that it is a Bay Area band originally.
Right. Yeah, but the character in the song's from Born and Bred in South Detroit.
Yeah, and they say it even when they were playing Detroit in the World Series. They would say that line all that, and I wanted to just be like, "Fuck you! I'm from Detroit, you pricks."
Isn't there no such place as South Detroit?
There is South Detroit, sure.
Is there?
Well, I mean, there's not an area you would call South Detroit, but down by the
something to you, Tom.
Down by the bridge,
wherever you are, there is a south part of where you.
I understand that, Mike, but it's like saying like the south side of Chicago,
South Antarctica,
South Carolina, or something like that. There's not a place for like capital South Detroit. Is there a place called South Detroit?
Oh, I said, there's North Detroit, there's South Detroit, there's East Detroit, there's West Detroit. There's Northwest.
Where do you want to meet for lunch?
There's Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast. Anywhere you want to go, wherever you are there.
To charitably answer Tom's question, because Mike is exactly right here. Of course, there's nothing that anyone calls South Detroit.
That's what I'm getting at.
There's down there Mexican village, Mexican town, right down by the bridge there, and the bridge being the bridge to Canada.
The Ambassador. The
bridge actually goes south, so that would be the south. That would be South Detroit. But if someone said it, if you were in Detroit and they said South Detroit, you wouldn't go, "What are you talking about, you moron?" You'd say, "Oh, okay, that must be down by the bridge."
That's downriver. We call it downriver.
I only bring it up because
downriver. Yeah,
it's ridiculous that they say that because there's no such thing as South Detroit. Somebody said that to me, and I accepted that. So you wouldn't say, "Oh, let's meet in South Manhattan." You wouldn't say that. Like that's not a thing.
No, it's in Detroit. It was downriver because my mom would yell at my dad, and she would say, "Why you go hang out with your friends downriver?"
Oh yeah, that's like saying that's like going to the sticks,
down by Lincoln.
Kind of like because it's really run down for a while downriver. Looks much nicer now.
No, but she meant it in a way. That's where all your hillbilly friends are downriver.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It was when I was growing up. Downriver was kind of like rough side of town, a little rough around the edges.
My friend Paul Yates ruined the song for me because he told me about how I think at his college they had this on the jukebox. They had Any Way You Want It on the jukebox, but there was a skip in it, and he told me about how he can never hear the song without hearing "Another Love at the End of the Love at the End of the Love." And so now I always hear the song that way, even though I never heard that skipped record. I only
the dance mix in your head.
Skipped record.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now it's all ruined for you too. You're welcome.
Can I just say also that now that we're not even on this subject, but it's in my head, which is that when you're at a sporting event now, Mike, and you can maybe back me up on this, Mike. Tom certainly can't. But when I'm when you're at a sporting event and they play Seven Nation Army by White Stripes, you can hear it all the time at sporting events, and I want to go, "Stop it! You're not allowed to play that song. Stop it! That's not yours. It's ours. Screw you."
Well,
is that a Detroit? Are they a Detroit band?
Yes.
White Stripes.
Yeah.
And guess where they grew? Guess where Jack White grew up? South Detroit.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, no,
Mexican town.
Mexican town. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
And then they moved in.
Born and raised in Mexican town. You can see why I'm in South Detroit.
Right. It doesn't have like the right ring to it. Yeah.
That's where the editor just says, "Let's just cut this. Mexican town becomes South Detroit. You have yourselves a hit."
Well, I'd like to clarify that it's not because it's Mexican; it's just because of the actual way it flows off the tongue. It's
the cadence,
exactly.
And we're not. Also, let's also stop. We're not being derogatory by calling it Mexican town. It's called.
No, yeah, that is what it's called, and it's a great part of town.
Lest anybody believes that we're
No. It's just down in Mexican town a couple weeks ago. And in fact, I went down to downriver, and I'd like to shout out because I went to the house of one of our listeners, Lori.
Hey, Lori.
There you go.
Pals listening to us.
Well,
Wow,
that's good.
Lori is
pants.
That's we're cross gender.
We got
Lori's
both genders.
Lori is my cousin-in-law, ex-cousin-in-law.
No, but I'm saying, as the demographic goes, we're not just speaking to. We're speaking to a wide gendered audience.
Wide, yeah, but we speak to such a broad number of genders that both genders are represented.
We had one, and then we doubled it,
Yeah,
and now we've got all the genders.
Right, we've collect all two.
Well,
I feel like we made Mike sad. It is a good achievement, Mike. We're all proud that we got the boys and the girls. And I feel like I should watch my language now. A little self-conscious. Damn it, Lori.
mm-hmm.
Is it Lori?
No, she's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, she's super good.
Speaking of cool, I also like, for some reason I love, it looks more, you know what's good about this scene? It looks more like a real movie. Like they cut to Smails who spins around, his hair's a little disheveled. He's like, now what the devil? And he's like all pissed off. Like that shot of him is really good. And then they keep cutting back to him and Danny as they're walking back, and you got all the dancing in the background and the music slowly fading back. And it's a nice, there's a lot going on in that shot.
Right.
It's a little bit, I'll say the word cinematic. It's a little bit cinematic.
It's reminiscent of the Magnificent Ambersons, Orson Welles' epic work from Booth Tarkington's source material. There's a good depth of field there, and a lot of action in the foreground and in the background. And now, in the Magnificent Ambersons, it had to do with parties and things like this, but here it had to do with getting hit in the bollocks with a ball and watching people dance the journey.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's very reminiscent of the tracking shot in Paths of Glory through the trenches, the world Kubrick's famous tracking shot. Right?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, talk about
this?
Depth.
This entire scene was lit with candlelight. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people know that. They use that same film stock from Barry Lyndon.
Fantastic Barry Lyndon reference there. The all candlelit scene.
Yes,
guys, go out and see Paths of Glory if you. And I say not to you guys, but to the listeners. Mm-hmm. Paths of Glory, great movie, almost as good as Caddyshack.
A social undesirable, me. Tim Carrey in that movie.
Oh, it's great. Tim Carrey. He's fantastic.
Oscar Goldman's in that movie. That's how good it is. Oscar Goldman for the $6 Million Man.
Really?
He's like the French military. I was gonna say the military jerk, but they're all military. He's like the lead prosecutor, like prosecuting the guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Little mustache.
That is terrific.
Jerk. Yeah,
a great movie. One of my favorites.
Back to the crotch shot.
Oh. Yeah, back to getting hit in the crotch.
Balls with
my balls.
I should have yelled two. The pants really closely are almost that hat. They're almost the same as the hat. It's almost the same color.
They do sort of have the same.
The off-white with the alternating red and blue stripes. Am I right?
Yeah, he was very well thought out that day.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why he's pissed about losing the hat. He's like, I can't wear the hat that totally pulled this whole ensemble together.
Yeah,
it was perfect, and now I've been shamed out of wearing it.
And one of the funniest lines here is when he says, "Music is an invasion of my privacy." Not loud music is an invasion of privacy.
Right.
He's saying music in general is an invasion of my privacy. Judge Smails' privacy is interrupted by music.
Right.
Yes.
Anytime that my immediate area is interrupted with any kind of musical notes or a beat or a melody or a harmony of any kind of involving the standard scale.
I'm being invaded.
I've got sound in my ears now.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he says, "Shut that thing off," the way he waves his arm. It's more just brilliant Ted Knight comedy.
Oh, he's so good.
He's God. I get madder and madder every week. Here's the two things that change every week. I get more and more sympathetic to Tony DiNunzio, who by now is one of the great literary heroes in my head of anything.
He's Oliver Twist and
right.
Yeah, it's Charlie Bucket.
Yeah, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, and then I more and more just am so posthumously angry that on Ted Knight's behalf that the man never won an Oscar for this role.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Through this podcast, we're singing his praises. People already know he's awesome, but they're gonna, our legions of listeners will spread the word And I think that we're doing the Lord's work and rebuilding this man's reputation and getting it out there that this is maybe the greatest performance ever put to film.
And DiNunzio is the greatest character in literary history. He's like he's like a character in a Russian novel. He's like Alyosha in Brothers Karamazov.
Yeah, he's like a brother Karamazov with no brothers, just he's by himself.
I think DiNunzio could go home to that depressing home and talk about how life is like peeling an onion, just like Alyosha.
Yeah.
I know that Ted Knight was married for years and had 3 children. Ted Jr., Elise and Eric, and if any of the Knight family is listening, I will just say that Mr. Ted Knight, my hat is off to thee.
Yes,
fabulous work.
Mm-hmm. You had a fantastic dad / grandpa, uncle, whatever he was to you. He's awesome.
Yep. Can I tell a story about Journey real quick? A real quick story. What Mike and I one time, Mike, you may remember this. We would sit in Mike's basement and watch. After the ball game was the Tigers, we watched the Tigers lose, and after the game, we would turn on the music stations, like the VH1 or MTV, and there was some show on that was like the modern alterna songs of like 2004 or 2003. Weird. Do you remember this, Mike? It was like Plain White Tees and all that.
Oh,
shit,
okay, yeah,
right. Yeah. And it was just crap, just garbage. We're watching it and going like, who's going down to the record shop for the? And I'm trying not to be an old man about this, but who's going down to the record shop and buying this record when there's perfectly good Iggy and the Stooges available or any of the other things that you can get? And crap.
And you would talk about, okay, now we're going to talk, Dan's talking about record stores. We grew up in the same area. In those days, you'd go to Royal Oak.
Yeah.
And the record store that was across from Noir Leather where you'd buy your used Doc Martens.
Off the record, right?
Off the record, yeah.
Off the record, yeah.
And you would go buy the bootleg tapes from the concerts.
Yeah.
And they'd have them stacked up. They'd have them in tapes because they were dub tapes. And they would have like handmade highlighter colored covers on them. So you'd go look for like Fugazi, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah,
and
you got
have the
Pixies.
dates. Now, would you imagine people going into that for the plain white tees?
No. You stay home and you download.
Or the toadies.
Crap. Some knockoff, and it's always that kind of like their arms, and all the bands had arms were just covered in tattoos, and they had the perfectly timed jumping with the hitting the chord. It was like phony manufactured exuberance.
You know what the problem was? You know what the band that tipped the scale on that was?
What was it?
Blink 182. Because that was like, and even Green Day was a lot edgier, than they kind of made it big, and then all of a sudden Blink 182 came, and for some reason they got labeled as like a legitimate punk band.
Well, it's good. I will say, I believe Green Day was the bridge band to all this crap. Now you can blame them. You can decide that the border is after the bridge or before the bridge. Mm-hmm. But Green Day, I do believe, led us to this.
Yeah, but if you have Green Day when you're thinking about this like disappearing boy, Green Day, when they were kind of obscure and kind of edgier, and then Dookie was even really good.
Yeah, that's a pretty.
But they didn't. I don't think they really did anything to tip it, but it just tipped.
No, they were just copying off of stuff, but it was maybe it was cleaned up just a little in such a way that.
But then Blink 182 came, and that's where all the timing jumps and the kind of everything is kind of manicured and put together, and then that crowd went to the Green, latched onto Green Day as like the grandfathers of all this, but they're not. But Blink 82 goes down as like a legitimate punk band. It's like, no, it's not. It's bullshit. And
I'm worried that in 50 years, when they say, "Oh, this was a punk band, then this was a punk band," it's all going to look like one big glob to people. And I want to say, no, sir. Yeah. This band does not belong with these other ones. Yeah. This band does not belong with your Ramones and your whatever the good punk was after. I guess a Sonic Youth or something like that.
MC5.
Yeah, MC5, forget about it. Don't even think of putting Blink 182.
For the love of Christ. Devo is punk rock.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's punk rock.
Are we not men?
Yeah.
What's round on the ends and high in the middle? Ohio. I love that stuff.
God made man, but he used a monkey to do it.
I love that song.
I'll tell you, one of the greatest.
I'm still in the middle of my stories, so we can't get into the whole thing. But let me just tell you. No, okay. Let me just tell you, because Mike, you might remember this, because I want to get you to remember this, which is that we were watching some shitty band, and we were watching, and we would watch one after another. We thought, who's buying this crap? And we got depressed and angry, and then we changed the channel. And it was
that's right. Yeah, I remember now.
Back to like VH1, and what was it? It was Steve Perry. I don't know what song it was.
Yeah, but
I wish I did. But it was one of the rockin' ones.
Yeah, and we're like, you know what?
And we're like,
I forgot how good just great classic rock is. After all this shit.
The difference was so stark that we're like, now this is a band.
And we were watching them, and we're like, every one of these musicians are like the top. They're all top musicians.
Yeah,
you know, they're all really good at their craft, but they're rocking,
and they were singing for real.
They were soul. That's what I remember. I can't remember what it was. It was
the best way to describe it is that there was soul to it. It had soul, and the music we were listening to before was soulless. It was like the melted Indiana Jones figures at the end of that crap. Right? I did that for you, Tom.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Here I am.
Yeah.
Somebody say Indiana Jones?
No, Tom has good taste in music too.
I do.
Right,
How did you wind up with that, Tom? You got bad taste in everything except for, of course, Jody is a lovely companion. Everything else.
I didn't know we were bringing human beings.
Well, I'm just saying. I was going to say you had bad taste in everything. I realized that was going to sound bad.
He actually doesn't. He has good taste in everything, though.
Okay.
He does have good taste in everything.
I piggyback on the taste of a lot of friends and things. I've got well-versed friends.
But that in itself is good judgment. To go with the right friends.
I'm bragging.
Yeah.
You could run for president with that judgment.
You really could. Right. This is what they do with the climate change. Always says, "Oh, I don't believe this and don't believe that." It's like, look, I'm not a scientist, they say. But yeah, you're right. But you know who to listen to. Yeah. It's not about whether you're a scientist. Dumbass.
You go find a scientist. You have them make you a tape with Devo, Journey, the Buzzcocks,
Kraftwerk,
the Cars, Kraftwerk.
Now that's why I think.
Tom, my hat's off to you.
Yeah,
thank you.
One of the greatest live performances was Devo on Saturday Night Live doing "Satisfaction."
Yeah,
I love that cover. That's a great cover.
They do it live, and they do it. It's incredible.
That's one of those covers that's much, much better than the original, and I don't want to have any more discussion about it.
I think they're both great. That's what's so unique about that cover to me, is that they're both great versions of a song.
You want to know the greatest Devo moment ever? Sure. They're in Neil Young's wackadoodle movie, Human Highway, and just like flat in the middle of that, they're like characters in the movie. They're like working like a nuclear waste dump place or something. But then in the middle of the movie, there's like this whole dream sequence where Neil Young's like being a hippie or something. And then there's like this whole sequence of Devo and Neil Young doing My Hey Hey, but it's a super crazy early Devo version of it. And it is the greatest thing I've ever seen or heard, period.
Can we find it on...
It's incredible. Wait to see that, man.
Yeah, I'm going to find it and I'm going to post it for you and our friends.
I see there's a video of them playing "Worried Man" from Human Highway.
Oh yeah, that's from that too. Human Highway.
Worried Man's such a great song.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I mean, it's a fucked up movie, but it's great. It's got Devo in it.
I love Devo.
Me too. Do we have anything else for this minute, though?
That might cover it. We got to the Devo.
Well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Danny starts as brownnose.
And you also, when he starts brown, isn't this the world needs ditch diggers too? Or is that the next?
Right.
That's the next minute. And I want to really get into that. Yeah, so that's a little taste for the fans out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a few days, you get to hear about that great line.
Don't watch the movie on your own. That would be cheating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, come back here next time and we'll talk about Ditch Diggers and Minute 24 and go listen to some Devo and stuff.
Classic rock.
Listen to Journey.
Yeah,
Stone in Love by Journey. I recommend it.
I'll end with one more Journey story.
Okay.
So I went to the drum pad in Palatine to get a couple pairs of sticks for a show two, 3 years ago. And I walked in and Steve Smith, the drummer from Journey, was there.
Whoa.
Because they were doing a drum clinic. They were hosting a drum clinic the next day, and he was just sitting there talking to the owner, and I'm just eavesdropping. I go, "Hey, you're Steve Smith," and I just say, "Hey," I shook his hand, and I said, "Let's buy these sticks." and they were talking about recording in the 70s. In the 60s, if you listen to the 60s recording, all the sound was not compressed, and they didn't try to control it, so you would hear like a lot of the room. You would hear the 70s was the exact antithesis of that. They wanted everything compressed, everything controlled. And he was saying how it drove him crazy, because as a drummer, they would want every single piece of the instrument isolated.
Oh my God!
So they would take. He said literally, the sound engineers would take cardboard pieces of cardboard and build almost like
a box for each
like
drum.
a box around each drum.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And then the microphone would go in there. And he said, and I'm thinking, well, how the hell do you? Because you have to lift your hands over the cardboard, and he would do it, because then it would be. But I'm saying that's a professional.
That seems counterproductive.
To be able to say, okay, you just put all these obstacles in front of me. I understand what you're going for. You want an isolated sound. I'm going to make it work.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's incredible.
See? We're not just talking about Caddyshack.
I feel like people laugh at Journey. I feel like people think about the Separate Ways video, which is you can't say it's not laughable. It's ridiculous. But my gosh, they got some good songs.
Oh yeah, they are killing it up there, man.
Mm-hmm. Any way you want it.
Except, I mean, I can see when they laugh at it when they got that Filipino guy to sing.
Oh, sure.
That's and I'm not knocking on the Filipinos out there. I'm just saying.
Mike hates Filipinos. Oh my God!
No, when Steve Smith leaves the band, I mean not Steve Smith. When Steve Perry leaves the band, they're done. They're not Journey anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio.
Oh God! Don't even.
I tried so hard to end this minute. Right. Now we're on to Ronnie James Dio. All right.
Just terrible.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to call it.
Yeah, Tom wants to go all of a sudden.
And not that I want to go.
No.
Peek behind the curtain. Dan said he has to get to bed early or something. He's got to go do something. So I'm trying to be conscientious of that. Christ's sake. Wow. Now I'm the bad guy. Now I got the feather on my face.
Oh, jeez.
All right, no, we won't give them a little extra content. Maybe this would be a longer minute, but no, it's okay.
Hey, we could just keep the party going on minute 24. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we'll see you at minute 24.
All right.
Okay, fine.
I'll meet back here. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. You didn't press stop, did you?
No.
What about Foghat? Foghat.
Oh, yeah, looks like Foghat play us out. We'll do it live.
No, what I'm saying is,
to play it out. What does that even mean?
To play us out.
There's no words on the thing.
When play us out, there's no words on it. What do you mean play us out? What does that mean, play us out?
To end the show?
Fucking thing sucks.
Fine, I'll do it and I'll write it.
Fine, I'll do it. We'll do it live.
All right, we'll end the minute, Tom. Go ahead.
End it now.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Now with a little Foghat.
Something about minute 24.
Let it battle out. The music battle it out with each other. Go.
Just wait a minute. Just listen to that dirty groove. That's Mr. Foghat walking down the hallway of Walnut Creek.
Holding your earbuds up to the microphone.
There's no box around that bass guitar. Yeah.
End the show? All right. We'll see you at minute 24.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Goodbye.
Hey, you scratched my ankle.